Hello everyone, welcome to another Algebra 1 SOL prep video. Again, the focus is going to be on using Desmos. So here's the first question. Which equation could represent a graph with x-intercepts of 4, 0 and negative 7, 0? So you can see we want our graph to hit 4, 0 and negative 7, 0. I've taken my 4 answer choices and I've entered them all in here. And I'm going to start with the last selection. I can't even see that one, so it doesn't hit at 4, 0 or negative 7, 0. Can't see that one either. This one hits at negative 4 and positive 7, but we want positive 4, so it's not that one. So by default, it's going to have to be this one. And good, look at that. Hits at negative 7, 0 and 4, 0. All right, next one. So to do this one, to enter the table, I collect add item and table. I entered all my data in. Okay. So Bill rode his bike to the store 5 kilometers from his house. The table shows the distance from the store paired with the number of minutes. So number of minutes, that's X, and the kilometers from the store is Y. Which equation best models line of best fit? All right. So you give Desmos the data, you input this exactly as is. And then you know your answer, because it's a line, is going to be in y equals mx plus b format. Tells you right here what m is, negative 0.27. Well, they've got two choices with negative 0.2 and two choices with negative 0.3. Seems like that's closer to negative 0.3. And b is 4.8. And it seems like those numbers you get me closest to this answer choice here. All right, next one. Formula for the surface area. What is the value of surface area when r, that's the radius, is 3 and h, the height is 4? In this problem for pi, so that we don't have to go looking for the pi key, and most of you guys are comfortable with this, I'm going to be using 3.14. So when you see my formula here typed in, I'm going to have 3.14 for pi. Here I'm going to have 28 times 3.14 and so on. So here you go. You can see here's the formula. Right? 2 pi r h plus r, 2 pi total, just like I said, 3.14 pi r h plus r. And then I have to give it a value for r and h, and I get 131.88. Then I put in my 4 answer choices. So 28 times pi, 32 pi, 36 pi, 42 pi. Well, only one of them is equivalent to the actual problem. So I have my answer, 42 pi, right? So again, it was just a matter of plugging 3 and 4 in to get my answer, and then I just had to see which one of my answer choices gave me the same 131.88. All right, using that applied on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction for income in the year 2000? So here's the year, and here's the income, right? So they say the year 2000, so I need to go out one more, so approximately right here would be 2000. And if I follow these dots, just draw somewhat of a straight line. I go up from 2000 till I hit that line. Seems like that's somewhere around 42,000. All right. And we have our winner there, 43,000. Okay. Now, if they would have given me 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, that would have been a little bit more difficult. I would want more data to come up with that answer, or I would take those ordered pairs and put them in a table. But as it was, we didn't have to. All right, when simplified, blank equals. So again, it equals one of those. When you put x and y in an expression, it won't graph it, but you also can't substitute numbers in for it. So if there's x and y, and even if there's just an x, if you don't want the graph, if you're trying to find it equal to, you can replace them with a and b. So you can see my x and y's have become a and b. So there's the original, and here's the original with a and b. And again, I say a is 3, b is 4, and it gives me an answer. Now, I know what this equals. When a is 3 and b is 4, this is 1.76 times 10 to the 12th. Now, one of these 4 has to be equal to that. So I plug in my 4 choices, and only one of them is equal to the same thing. So we've got our answer. Each of the following table contains elements of x and y relationship. Which table contains 4 points that cannot lie on the graph of a function? So remember, a function is every x only has one y. So which one of these breaks that rule? Each one of these x's is different. I'm happy with that. Here I've got a duplicate x. All my x's are different. All my x's are different. So here, look at this. When x is 2, y is 2. Here it says when x is 2, y is 4. So I've got the same x with different y, so that cannot be a function. Let's see, profit equation for manufacturing firm is, I've rewritten it down here, where P is profit and X is the number of units sold. For what number of units sold? Remember they told you X was the number of units sold. And it says for what number of units sold, so they're asking you for X. Does the company break even? When you break even, your profit is $0. So they're saying in the equation, they're asking you to figure out what does X have to be so that this equals 0. Right? So here I've put it in. And remember, we're trying to figure out what x has to be so the output is 0. Well, on a graph, the output is y. Y is 0. It's on the x-axis. I can't see my curve yet, so I'm going to zoom out finally. And right there, look at that. When x is 50, the output is 0. In math world, x could be negative 50, but you can't sell negative 50 units. So the answer is 50. Which equation fits the data in the table? All right, here we go. So again, I hit add item, I opened a table, I entered my data, right? Which equation fits the data? So you can see when I put my data in, it plotted those 4 points. I graphed all 4 equations. Well, which one fit the data? Well, you can see it's the one in orange. If I remove all of these, none of those that fit it. It's only the first one. This is the only one that hit all 4 points. So the answer is the first choice. Input, output, they give you a function right here. F of x equals, when the input is 1/3, remember x is the input. It tells you right here, x is the input. What's the output? And so for Desmos, you can type your function, right? F of x equals x squared minus 5. F of x equals x squared minus 5. And they told you the input x is 1/3. So I just type in f of 1/3. Only problem here is it gives me a decimal answer, and all their choices are fractions. So I hit my decimal to fraction conversion button right here, and it gives me negative 44/9. And so we have our answer again. What is the slope of the line represented by the following? So if you completely forget y equals mx plus b, that number in front of x is the slope, you can just graph it, right? So it graphs the line, and then I need 2 points to find slope. So you can see here, I chose 2 points that were on the line. It's labeled for me, and then find the slope. Count up 2 over 1. Well, I went for the slope, I went up 2 over 1. So my slope is 2. When completely factored. All right, so this is a tough one. So first of all, remember I can't have it with x and y in it, so my x's became a's and my y's became b's. Okay. So then I choose 3 and 4 for a and b, and I get 68. Now remember, when you factor something, its factored form is still equal to its original. So when I put in 3 and 4, I get 68. Now the problem with this one is 3 of the 4 answer choices give me 68. So I can only rule one of these out. And now I've got to see which one it says completely factored. Now I have to look at, okay, look, they factored a 4, right? But here they only have factored a 4 out of the first 2 terms. They didn't factor a 4 out of that 28. The last one, they factored the 4 out of the 16 and the 28, but they didn't factor a 4 out of that. This is the only one where they have factored the 4 out of all 3 terms. Therefore, this is the answer. So Desmos was of limited help on that one. All right. Next one, order pairs form a quadratic pattern. Remember, quadratic is our curve, our U shape. Right? And so they give you 5 sets of data. They're asking you to figure out what's y when x is 5. A couple of different ways of doing that. Okay, so I put my data in and then ask it for the quadratic function. So you literally type that in, y1, squiggly. And then it tells me here what a, b, and c are. So y equals a x squared. Well, a is 1, so 1x squared. B is 0, so plus 0x. C is 1, so plus 1. So I've got my equation. And now they're asking me what's y when x is 5. So now I just come over here into my 1x squared plus 0x plus 1, and I put my 5. So 1, 5 squared plus 0 times 5 plus 1, and we get 26. Right? Another way you could look at your graph, I'm going to pull this down. All right, so my goal was to figure out what y was when x was 5. So x is 5 right here. So I'm going to go up until I hit my graph. Got to keep going. And look at that. That's where it hits. And the y value is 26. So we've got a Desmos helps us out a couple of occasions on that one. Right? So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Good luck on your Algebra 1 SOLs.